First of all, I want to thank UpVote Virginia for inviting me to say a few words at their big launch. And I'm glad to be joining all of y'all today, especially because UpVote Virginia's main focus is an issue that I've been advocating for, and that is ranked choice voting. Ranked choice voting is an issue that's really gaining ground and momentum and support all across the country. And I think it's something that Virginia localities ought to seriously consider for their county and city elections. Now, the principle of ranked choice voting is really foundational to our country, and that is that the people are the owners of the government. They ought to be the majority of the people ought to be electing their representatives. And ranked choice voting makes it so that elected officials are truly representative of the will of the majority of the voters. And we know in some cases, and in fact, many elections, there's more than two candidates in an election. Sometimes there's 3, 4, 5, 6, even more people running for election. You'd like to get to a majority. Now, some states, the way they get to a majority vote, in some states, that if no candidate gets over 50%, they go to a runoff, which is costly, but they go for a runoff weeks later, and that's one approach to get to a majority. The other approach is using ranked choice voting to get to a majority. And you say, what does a majority matter? Well, in our representative democracy from the beginning, Thomas Jefferson in the 1780s was writing William Carmichael and George Washington about the importance of a majority vote because, as we know, the just powers of the government are derived from the consent of the people, of the governed. So the real experiences, though, with real ranked choice voting are fairly clear. And some people need to know that how they've been working, but it's new in that it wasn't around 20 years ago. But for example, military and overseas ballots in some states have been using ranked choice voting for a long time. Other states for several years now, from Maine, Michigan, Colorado, Utah, and Alaska, are using ranked choice voting for their elections in those states and localities. Here in Virginia, last year, and I advocated for this amongst the Republicans in nominating our candidates for Attorney General, Lieutenant Governor, and Governor to use ranked choice voting for this kind of disassembled convention that we had to use because of all the lockdowns in Virginia, that you're not going to have people sitting in a car going ballot after ballot in a convention. It's just not going to work. So we, out of necessity, maybe used ranked choice voting, but there were thousands and thousands of people participating in it. And there were a slew of candidates running for each of those offices. And by the end of it, none of them got over 50% on the first ballot. But ultimately, we nominated our candidates for Attorney General, Lieutenant Governor, and Governor. It brought unity. There was respect for the process that they did get a majority of the votes. And so it worked well, although you did have to explain to people how ranked choice voting works, just like with any new approach. Now, even just a few weeks ago, certain congressional districts in Virginia, the Republicans, nominated their candidates for Congress by using ranked choice voting. Now, I'm talking about Republicans. This is not a partisan issue. This is not a Democrat or Republican issue. It's bipartisan. In 2020, the Virginia General Assembly passed a law that allowed localities the option of using ranked choice voting for their local elections. It was supported by the most conservative Republicans, moderates, and the most liberal Democrats. This is not, ranked choice voting is not something that benefits either party. What it benefits are the people, the voters, that their will is better reflected. Now, this bill, this law now gives localities, counties and cities, the option to use ranked choice voting if they so desire. I would not be a part of any measure or proposal that would impose ranked choice voting on any political party or any county or city. That should be the decisions of those parties or those counties and cities with it. I'm glad that what UpVote Virginia is going to do is going to be working on this issue in the coming months. They'll be sharing information. They'll be helping. They'll be a tremendous resource for supporters of ranked choice voting, working with the men and women in the counties and cities, local governing bodies that will make a decision whether to pilot this idea for their county or city or not. And that's the way it ought to be. So with that, thank you for allowing me to be a part of this launch. I look forward to seeing you all on the trail ahead. And most of all, I wish you all the best wishes, because I like working with many of you, as I have in recent years, on redistricting reform and now this ranked choice voting, because I think all of us want to make sure that we have a more perfect Commonwealth. See you on the trail ahead. Adios.